It's absolutely off the grid. You have your own water supply up here. You have to make your own electricity. Hi, Bill the Flavor Guy here, and we are up at our unofficial Sabo Ranch. This is the place where we come to rejuvenate and relax. It's a place called Kennedy Meadows. Yeah, it's just a spectacular place. I thought it'd be a cool moment to just kind of give a little history on how we got this place and why. So the story goes that, COVID hit in 2020, and just back from a trip from China, in fact, literally in China, in Wuhan, in late October, early November of 19, when COVID was breaking out. And my buddy and I, Dr. Tuan, we were there procuring equipment. We didn't think anything of it, didn't get sick, but then got back home, and a month and a half, 2 months later, all hell broke loose, as you all probably know. And so couldn't take our vacations with our kids anymore. My wife and I said, this is crazy. First time in almost 30 years that we weren't able to go somewhere and do what we want to do. So we ended up going to the river, Colorado River, on the California-Arizona border with our friends who had a place up here, and they told us about a property that came up for sale. And it was one of those things where I knew that my neighbor's a prepper, and I'm a prepper. I said, let me check it out. So we looked at some pictures online. Just the pictures alone sold us. We called the broker, got a hold of the owner, and bam, we bought this place without even seeing it. It was one of those risks that paid off, because when we got here for the first time, we absolutely fell in love with this place. There used to be a lumber mill just north of us on the other side of this ridge, and this road that leads to this property was the main road for the trucks to haul the uncut wood up and over this ridge. But even further back than that, we're talking 500 to 1,000 years ago, Indians lived here, and their artifacts are everywhere. It's really kind of cool when you're walking around and you stumble upon some obsidian, and occasionally you can see an arrow that was in the process of being formed. So we find arrows and we find little spots of obsidian where an Indian, if you can imagine, sitting on a rock pretty much like we are right now, was sitting there chipping away, making his arrow. The land is loaded with wildlife because there are hunters up here, but it's a very controlled environment, and there's way more land than hunters. A lot of people don't come up here. It's not an easy ride to get up here, and we like it for that, by the way. There's tons and tons of deer and bear and coyotes and mountain lions and bobcats and foxes, and the whole gang is up here. But what we like about it is it's just pristine. It's quiet, it's off the grid, it's everything you'd dream of in a peaceful location. It's absolutely off the grid. You have your own water supply up here, you have to make your own electricity. I said, well, we're gonna grow our own fruits and vegetables here, just like we do down in Orange County. All the locals that we met said, it can't be done. Nobody grows anything up here. Well, you don't say that to the flavor guy. That's a challenge. So we immediately started sanctioning spots. We've been up here for almost 4 years. And the first year was rough. I didn't give up, but I definitely hit a lot of hurdles trying to grow stuff. But after a while, you keep persevering, you don't make the same mistakes twice, and you've seen some of the pictures of the gardens. They're growing good. And if things go to hell in a handbasket, power shuts off, this would be the place I'd want to be. Brutally cold in the winter, but you can take care of all that. We have wood burning stoves, and you just come up here. We come up here in the winter probably more often than we do in the summer, because it's even more, pleasant. Last year we had back-to-back storms, and it caused us to be stuck here for 7 days, which was, for us, my wife and I absolutely loved it. My daughter and her future husband, not so much. You have to be responsible out here. You got to manage your power, and you've got to be careful you don't get hurt. We have what's called helicopter service, so we can be picked up if something bad happened to my wife or I or our kids, and get you to the closest hospital really fast. But other than that, you use your common sense. You don't go jumping off of the rocks like little kids do, because you're probably gonna break some at my age. Doing a little expansion. I've always dreamed of having a jacuzzi in the snow. I've done that many times, where I've rented a property and taken the wife and kids, and you go out there in the snow and sit in the jacuzzi, and it sounds like it's really cold. Actually it is, until you get in the jacuzzi, but it's absolutely amazing. So we're building a little addition to the deck right there where we're gonna put the jacuzzi. Got the guys out here from the farm They love coming up here. It's a fun thing about this place. If I mentioned to any of the employees at Nature's Flavors or any of the people that work on the farm, hey, you want to go up to Kennedy? Nobody says no. It rarely happens unless they have some prior engagement. Even working up here is better than working in the city. And as I've said in previous videos, I love my job as a flavor chemist. I love creating new products. I love creating your products. I love making flavors and extracts, but this place has become my first choice. My goal also is to build a flavor lab up here so I can do my R&D. I can only imagine with the knowledge I've gained over 45 years of doing this, what I can do up here where I'm not answering a phone call or, giving my experience to a management person. Being up here without having to think about all those other things and being in that creative spirit, I think my best work is ahead of me. So that'll be the next thing after the jacuzzi. Priorities, right? I need that jacuzzi, and then we'll get a flavor lab up here. Still haven't explored all this property yet. There's so much. 89 acres doesn't sound like a lot of land, and it's not, compared to the millions of acres probably between here and Mammoth Lakes. But for us, we have barely scratched the surface on walking the property and discovering stuff. Something else that was really neat that we stumbled upon is this used to also be cattle country, and it still is. There's still cattle guys that run cattle down from Ridgecrest and back up to the mountains in the summer, and you'll come across just out of random, just cows just sitting there, and the grass is so thick up there. It's pretty cool because, you don't have to feed them. You just take them up here and they pay a fee to the BLM and the animals just roam about. There's tons of water up there. But these cattle guys, 50, 100 years ago, probably more than 50, they used to ride up here and run their cattle and they would stay with them. And so there's like can dumps you come to, which is where they camped. You can sometimes find their old fire pits. Sometimes we find these big old gallon jugs. And yeah, kind of think of it as trash and pollution, but for us, it's like, hey, that's the history of the property. This is where they camped out for weeks at a time and their cattle, grazed this property. Well, I hope you enjoyed the fun and love of this place. This is God's country. I thank God every day for it. I admire it. I look at the creation and the beauty of it, and I'm in awe. Every time I come up here, I'm in awe. But I never get tired of coming up here. So I hope you enjoyed the video. The videographers / photographers, they didn't rest. They worked hard. They made me do more than what I would normally do. But they inspired me, and we got some really cool videos for you to see. And you get a little insight into the Flavor Guys' private life. Like, subscribe, comment. It was a little long. I apologize, sort of. And maybe tell your story. Give us some feedback. Let me know if you have a place like this that you feel that same feeling.